All right, today I'm going to talk about belt and clutch alignment on the CF Moto U10 Pro, Highland, any of those models, crew or non-crew, it doesn't matter. What we're going to talk about is what is it, why is it important to you, and then when do you need to do something about it. Okay, the first and foremost thing is the factory belt, and I know for a fact that the factory belt's changing. Mine's a 25 model. I cannot tell you when it's changing, but I just know that it is. And so a lot of information today is centered around this particular OEM belt. So this is my OEM belt, Bandeau. And what's important on this particular belt in this conversation is this number right here, 35.2. That is the width of this belt. All right, this belt is entirely too narrow, and that's why the OEM's changing. The one that we sell for this vehicle is wider. Okay, but why is belt width important on belt alignment? I'm going to actually have a couple of pictures here I want to show you that will give you a good idea. And where these pictures come from, and this is how you can look for yours, is take your cell phone, put it in between the two clutches. You have to have it centered, and then you need to make sure it's this way, and you take your picture with your flash on and to see where your belt is sitting in your primary clutch. So let's take a look at these two pictures. All right, the first picture is the OE belt. You see the red arrows right there, and there is a narrow amount of space on the engine side of it, and then there's a larger gap on the left side of it. With the factory belt, that is in fact, you have to accept the fact that it is too narrow, and it is. This alignment problem is not going to cause you a problem as far as alignment goes. Now, the second picture is once you put on the appropriate sized belt for this vehicle, which we have, then an alignment issue, if, big quotation, if you have it, is going to show up. Now, here's number two picture. This is actually, we've been talking about a future belt that's actually Hunterworks, and that's actually what this belt is. But nonetheless, you'll see that the gaps are pretty much even. All right, so I use the procedure I'm fixing to show you how to do to get that belt over off the back side of the clutch, because before I did it, secondary was turning, hard to get in gear, etc. It had an alignment problem that is now showing up. Now this is a long explanation, and I don't want to mess this up, because years ago we messed something up on a Polaris using a standard white washer in the primary, and people associated using our belt with a white washer. Well, I don't want to use Hunterworks because you have to use a washer. No, the washer was for the over travel in the primary clutch, and we just included it with the belt. And it caused us a lot of chaos over the years, and we do not want to cause that chaos again in the U10 Pro. And again, I know it's getting a little long-winded, let's get on with it, but I need to make this very clear. When you have the OE belt that's narrow, you may or may not have an alignment problem that may or may not show up once you get a properly width belt on it. And if that happens, quotation, if, this is what you do about it, okay? Hopefully that clears everything up. All right, so we have shims for sale. You'll see them by themselves on the website. Shipping costs more than the shims does, but if all you need shims, that's just the way it is. Or they will be optional on the belt for $5. These are shims we had laser cut. They're 20 thousandths of an inch thick. Okay, so here's the procedure. One, you look in with your camera, see what the situation is. These vehicles have a shim behind the secondary clutch. Yours may have none, one, two, whatever it took at the factory to get it aligned per their specifications with that thin belt, okay? So let's start our process. We use the little screw that we sell to spread the secondary clutch. We want to take our belt off, screw it into the threaded hole here, one of the three. All right, then we take the belt off. And by the way, this is a little secret here. This is actually our future Hunterworks test. Our future belt's going to be about 4 to 6 months out. All right. Take the screw back out. And we're going to take the bolt out of the secondary. It is a 18 millimeter. It is right hand thread, so lefty loosey. And you slide it off. All right. I don't know if you could see, but I'm going to pull off. There's two in here now. Mine originally came with one, and there's one still down in my secondary. All right. So if you feel like it's barely touching, you can use one. If you think it's more touching, you use two. Adding them moves the belt and the clutch outboard. Taking them out moves it inboard. Okay, so I'm just essentially going to put mine right back on. Put my secondary clutch back on. And if you're, there it goes, right back on. I can tell you the torque on this is 52 foot-pounds. For today's video, I'm just going to use an impact and tighten it back up. Put our screw back in. Spread it. Probably moving a little fast. You don't want to over tighten that. When it kind of bottoms out, you can feel it. You need to stop. Hopefully you're putting a Hunterworks belt on. Put it on where you can read it. Around the primary, over the top of the secondary. And roll it on. Then take the screw right back out. And at this point, you're gonna turn your secondary to get your belt come back up to the top. Now, you could skip that part. You could crank it up, rev it up, but you're gonna hear a clack because the belt's just moving around. So while you're here, just turn the secondary till the belt gets close to the top, and then the next time you crank it up, rev it up, and let go, it's gonna be back where it should go. So anyway, a little tech video on a potential issue. I will tell you that this doesn't necessarily have to be just about belt choices either, because a lot of UTVs get out of alignment, and if this one does, this is how it's done with shims behind the secondary clutch. So got any questions, Todd at hunterworks.com. And make sure you subscribe and like to get any future videos we come out for this vehicle. Thank you guys.